Today we're going to dig into a topic that I don't think gets enough discussion in the various places online, frequented by prospective digital nomads, people who want to take sabbaticals, people who want to move abroad. Today we're going to be talking about, is a tourist visa enough? But before we jump into that, if you're new here, let me introduce myself. I'm Adelia Borshade, but most people know me as Picky Girl Travels the World. I help Black women master their money so they can live life on their terms. If moving abroad is part of living the life you love, be sure to grab my Move Abroad checklist. There is a link below in the description, and I'll try and link it right here. Okay, so let's talk about tourist visas. The events of the last year and a half, almost 2 years, have really changed a lot of people's views about living in the US, moving abroad, becoming a digital nomad, or even just taking a break from the rat race and taking a sabbatical. And as more people start to consider this way of life as a real reality for them, they've joined various Facebook groups. If you are a Black woman, you definitely need to check out the Exodus Summit Facebook group because Exodus Summit is the summit for Black women looking to take a sabbatical or move abroad. But what I've noticed in many of these spaces is as people are discussing their plans and their hopes and their dreams about leaving the US, not a lot of conversation is happening around visas. And that is concerning to me. A visa is what legally gives you permission to spend time in another country that you are not a citizen of. I think part of this absence of a conversation is partially due to the fact that prior to the pandemic, if you had a US passport, you could enter 184 countries. Mind you, there's like 195 countries. Maybe if you're generous, 200 countries. So basically, you could enter almost every country in the world if you had a US passport with either visa on arrival or visa-free entry, which meant you didn't need to do anything to go and visit those places. But the thing I think that gets missed a lot is that those 184 countries, that's entry as a tourist. That's a tourist visa. Yes, American citizens can enter lots of countries visa-free or visa on arrival, but that's to be there as a tourist. And being a tourist means you're there for tourism or leisure purposes, or you're just there to visit for a short time. You can see why it's a little concerning that people are talking about turning their lives upside down, but they're not giving this really crucial part of the plan much thought. Are there times when a tourist visa is sufficient? Yes. If you are indeed only visiting a country, you are there for tourism and leisure purposes, a tourist visa is appropriate. If you are on a sabbatical, you're taking a break from your career or your studies, that is exactly what a tourist visa is for. And there are countries that have really generous tourist visas. I live in one, Mexico. US passport holders typically get 180 days for visa-free entry into Mexico. So that's 6 months. That is incredibly generous. You've got the Republic of Georgia that gives American citizens 365 days, as does Albania. Then you've got, if you want to be in other parts of Europe, like the Schengen zone, it's 90 days, 3 months. That's a very generous visa if what you're really there for is leisure and tourism activities. Now, when is a tourist visa not enough? When is a tourist visa insufficient? If you're planning on living in a place, doing that on a tourist visa is very risky. So for brand new expats, people who they are trying to get out of the US as soon as possible, they don't really know where they want a new home to be, a tourist visa might be an appropriate choice because you can spend 30 days, a couple months in one location and then move on to another before you can make your ultimate decision about where you want to settle. If you are a digital nomad, a tourist visa might be an appropriate choice. You really need to do your research about the country's rules about working there and earning foreign sourced income. But if you are a digital nomad and you are only spending short periods of time in different places, you are very, very nomadic, it is possible that a tourist visa might be sufficient for your purposes. But if you are considering living in a place long term, and when I say long term, in excess of a year, a long-term visa or residency visa is probably more appropriate to your situation. If you are planning to stay there and like make it home, a tourist visa is not appropriate for you. You need some kind of residency visa, and residency visas come in various flavors. Okay, you can get residency depending on the country, a number of different ways. If you want to work in that country and earn income within that country from people in that country, you need a work visa. That is, you're not supposed to do that sort of thing on a tourist visa because by definition, working is not leisure. Now, notice I specified earning money in that country derived from that country. There are some countries that are okay with you working in their country without a work visa if the source of your income is outside the country. But then there are other places that they don't care where your income is sourced. If you are doing work inside their borders, they expect you to have a work visa. So this is where your research is vitally important. As I said before, if you're trying to live somewhere and make it home and be there long term, doing that on a tourist visa is incredibly risky. You're violating the country's rules. They can choose to enforce it and make an example out of you. For example, with Mexico, while you can get up to 180 days on a tourist visa, that is completely at the whim of whoever you get at immigration that day. They could choose to give you 30 days. They could give you 7 days. There is no minimum. There is only a maximum. So, trying to live somewhere on a tourist visa puts you in a really precarious situation. I don't know, maybe you want to live on the edge like that, but I don't recommend it. No matter what your journey abroad is going to look like, whether you are taking a sabbatical, you want to live permanently outside the US, or maybe you want to experiment with a digital nomad lifestyle, you definitely need to put some thought into your visa strategy. And to that end, there are 2 things on my channel that you should definitely watch. I did a video called about affording to live abroad, different ways that you could earn income while you live abroad to support that lifestyle. I also did a series of videos about moving abroad, including the visa process, and I've kind of put those videos together into a Move Abroad playlist. I will link both of those videos below, and I will link the playlist here, and I will link the video here. Thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe. Next time.